This episode is sponsored by Yolanda, Taylor's new love. Your baby mama's
I like to call
mama's.
her Lonnie.
Londa
In today's news,
took Taylor to a new food spot in
dude,
Inglewood.
bomb, super, super good.
Dope
Shouts
as
out.
fuck.
That's all I
So
can
the
say.
spot I took him to, um, it's the guys. From my understanding, he started 3 restaurants. He's had fallouts with all the investors. But he's the main cook. He's the one that puts the menus together. Super cool ass dude. So, anyways, the city from what I've been told to me, the city of LA is a lot of people start restaurants out of their house. So the guy had fallouts at his last restaurant. He has all these awards from LA Times. Decided to say fuck it. He just started his own restaurant at his house. Super cool. Super is kind of sketchy because it's in Inglewood. So like you're going up this driveway in a random neighborhood, and you're just like,
First
what?
off, no parking. There's cars everywhere.
Yeah,
We park a street over, barely fit in. We get out. I walk. We walk all the way around, like a 2 minute walk, not super far. We got lucky actually, and we walk up, and as we're going, because this was my first time. He's been there for a few times.
been there
And
too
walk
many
up, and I'm
times.
like, "Are you sure this is his house?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've been here." So we walk up, and
It's a long driveway too.
yeah,
Like so, it's
like
not like oh, just a quick little driveway. Like you gotta.
it's
This
like a
driveway.
multi spot.
Yeah, like this driveway probably fits what like at least a good like 4 cars,
Yeah.
5 cars, like in length.
So we're walking up, and I don't see anything, and then but as you
Because
get
in the
closer,
front you just see the house.
yeah,
Like so you just see the house and you're walking up the whole driveway all the way to through the side of the house. You get to the end.
and as you're walking closer, you start hearing the music, and everything's like playing out, and you're like, "Oh shit!" Because it sounds like a house party. And the second you like get to the very back, and you like turn, there's music. Everyone's like laughing. There's tables set out. They got
You got like a
like
big old tent.
dude tent.
Like, for
Honestly, it's like
for
a little.
shade.
It's a little oasis. Like the trees make like a natural canopy
Yeah,
over it.
this shit's dope.
Super cool. They're like, oh, you got lucky. Like we were able to sit like right away,
Yeah, big time.
and super nice for a Saturday night. It felt really nice. I mean,
Perfect weather
yeah,
in LA out here. Super bomb. It was dope though because it's like the feeling you get when you walk into that backyard is like an uplifting feeling.
yeah. Like you're going to like a house party, but like your family's house party.
Yeah, and it's like, so it's pretty cool. All these different tables you can sit out in the backyard. Super fun. The owner has like a little shed in the back. And this is like a terrible description, but it's like a real nice little house in the back where he cooks all the food out of. It has these big windows in it that are all open, so you can see everything. So it's all nice and clean and everything, nothing weird. All nicely decorated, and you can bring your own beers if you want, your own coolers. The chef, aka the owner, is super dope about it. Super cool. He doesn't care. So he makes ceviche is his key ingredient. That's his like bread and butter.
Fire.
Best seafood. Yeah,
Fire.
too much fire. If you like spicy, you're gonna be in love. If you like seafood, you're gonna fall in love. If you like ceviche, you're super gonna be in love. Best ceviche I've ever had, hands down. Like after eating there, no other ceviche is that good to me anymore because I fancied up my taste buds. I think to like the top level.
No offense to any grandmas out there. We
Yeah,
apologize,
any
but,
Hispanic grandmas.
I mean, they'll give you a run for your money. I mean, yeah, it was definitely. I was kind of weary. I was like, seafood. I was like, all right, I'll try it. But yeah, the second I turned in, I heard the music and I felt the vibe. Everything smelled amazing. I saw everyone laughing, having fun, and automatically when you go in a restaurant, since I've worked in them since I was 18, uh, that's the first thing you want to see. Everyone happy. That
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
a good environment. Then sitting down, our beautiful waitress
Yolanda. Taylor fell in love with Yolanda.
brings our menus right away. Brings us these chips and salsa and takes our order. We're happy. And Jose is like, "Hey, watch out! The salsa is spicy." And I'm sitting there dipping in the chips, and he's like, "It's spicy," and I'm like, "Dude, it's all right." And I take a bite. I'm like, "Dude, it's not bad at all. It's a little spice. It tastes like serrano peppers.
Yeah,
At least
that's
that's what I was getting
yeah.
the vibe from." And chip after chip, I'm eating it, and I'm like, "Ooh,
It
okay." It's got a
compounds.
little. It's got like yeah, like he said, the more you eat it, the hotter it got. And by maybe like the 10th chip, I was like, Maybe I need to take
It
a look.
gets hot. Like
Yeah.
your mouth, your tongue is literally like on
Because
fire.
before I was like, I'll put this on my rice. I'll put it on my in my ramen. I'm like, I'm happy with it. And I was just like, yeah.
I'm like, you put that on your salad?
And I'm like, it was spicy. It was good.
Super bomb. So we got the ceviche. I don't want to tell the secret ingredients to what's in it,
Just know it's bomb.
but it's super fire. And then the next thing we ordered was like a big fried fish. Ooh, perfectly fried in the outside. You, as you break it off and you're eating it, it's all perfect, nice. You know, white fish meat inside, but it's all crispy on the outside. You eat, take a bite, heaven.
Dude, the flavor. Do it without any sauce, cause I went to go dip it in the spiciness, and I had to get another piece. Eat it fresh. Eat it with nothing on it. Dude, it's
Yeah,
the flavor.
and
Flavor's good. Texture's good. If you like a nice crisp fried fish, that it's bomb.
oh yeah, super fire. This is the best spot you could ever go to. Anyway, so
And
the
it,
fun part of the story is I tell the waitress Yolanda with a fat ass, cause
she's a beautiful lady.
she
But
got
she
the body glass of a I
she's
don't
got
know.
body karate like Kit Kat Kapow, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's super fire. So I tell her because she's asking us what we think of the food and everything. I've been there a whole bunch of times, and I tell her I was like, well, my boy's a sushi chef, and he actually likes it a lot, and we're at a seafood spot, so like his opinion is like highly sought after, you guys could say, and highly like valued. And she's like, oh really? So she gets all into it with him about being a sushi chef. She's like all interested
Girls
in
love
Taylor
sushi,
for real. So, and Taylor is
and I
probably
love girls.
one of the best sushi chefs I've ever have had. And this isn't me saying it because it's one of my best friends. It's like he's really actually
He
that good.
fucks it up.
Yeah, he's like super into the art. So yeah, he gets super
It's
super
art.
into it.
Yeah, playful. It's fun.
Yeah, he has like a whole secret menu that's of ridiculous good
Sausage
sushi rolls. Yeah,
menus,
that's insane.
traditionally trained.
And so Yolanda comes back and forth. And then what happened? It was like the guys at the table next to us.
What? Okay, so I had gone up to go to the bathroom, and I came back, and as I came back, I had passed her, and she smiled, and you had the check, and I think I'm pretty sure I saw her name on the check. I'm like 90% sure that's where I knew her name from. And then as I
Oh,
sat
okay.
down, I was like telling you how pretty she was,
Yeah.
and the guy across from me, like we looked at each other. He's like, "Oh, he's like, are we talking about the same person?" And I was like, "Did you fall in love too?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she was coming around the back, and I was like, "Hey, Yolanda." I was like, and she like turned towards me, and I was like, "Me and this guy, we both fell in love with you at the same time." And everyone starts laughing,
You guys were genuinely in love with her.
yeah, and then it got into a whole like pissing contest, pretty much, where him and
Well,
his
first,
friend.
no. Well, first she like came through after you said her name. She came through, and we talked to her for like a couple seconds. I don't even remember exactly what we talked about, but something came up about, oh, you bringing her sushi to work so she could see how good of a chef you are. And you go, all right, so give me your number. And she comes back with a receipt, with like a separate side receipt with her number and Instagram written
On
on it,
Instagram.
and just gives it to Taylor. Then Taylor and the guys next to us getting a pissing match.
Like,
Most,
oh, I can do this and I can do that.
they're like,
And
oh, I got two
I have
houses
this.
and this and
I can give you
Corvettes.
this, and I was like, I can give you all of my heart.
He said that, and the girl starts like, so the both tables are right next to each other, and she's like in the middle. She slowly starts inching her way closer and closer to our table. Before I know it, both tables are circular tables. Before we know it, she's like wrapped around, getting closer and closer to Taylor, and they're just, it's literally a pissing match on who's got what and who can do what. We're not talking about any of our materialistic things or anything. Taylor's just telling her like, girl, I'll cook you some food, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then the girl straight up goes, you know what? He wins, like, because he knows cooking is the way to a girl's heart. And Sushi Chef Master
I would
over here
love to eat my way to her heart.
won that one with ease. And then the funny part is, so it's time to leave, and we're all trying to take off because the place is kind of closing down. We're probably one of the last tables there. Right as we're leaving, she stops Taylor, runs up to him, and wraps her arms around him, give him a hug, and rests her head on his chest, and just has the biggest smile. And those two other guys that were trying to compete for her, are just looking at it like, what the fuck? And I could tell how happy she was, like hugging you. I was like, damn, she's
She's a
in love,
cutie.
love.
She's a cutie.
Yeah, but she was cool. It was fun, and then we got the fuck out of there.
Hell
But the
yeah.
spot's called 106 Underground.
And that
Super
definitely
sick.
amped up the rest of the night because
Oh, we got hyped.
after after we got hyped as shit. We made a couple promises that we'd go out to Hollywood, but they have those vaccination requirements bullshit. And I don't.
What's weird is like certain like the inner city of downtown LA, like they'll ask you to have your vaccination card and everything, and then you go to certain other spots,
And they
and
don't give a shit about
yeah,
it.
they're like, okay, whatever,
Orange,
like
Orange County doesn't give two shits about the vaccination. I mean, honestly, nobody really does, but they just do it because they want to keep their jobs. And so, should we talk about the experience after that?
how you stole some
fucking
girls.
I didn't steal anyone's girls. I stole the conversation, and I made apparently some guy very upset about the situation. So we met up with two of our girlfriends down there. They were out there having fun, and we meet up with them at Are we allowed to say the bar names? I mean, I get there's no.
It doesn't matter.
So
Yeah.
Tower 12,
So we went to Hermosa.
and we go up there and we're just like shooting the shit. We grab our drink and we're hanging out, and we see these two girls sit at one of the tables, and these two guys are talking to them, but based off their body language, you can tell that they're not into it. Like one of the girls is sitting here like this, like how we're facing. She's sitting here like this, and like has like her shoulder like she almost looks like she's kind of scared of
Are you
it.
talking about? Okay, I know which girl you're talking about now. There was a couple girls
The
that night. That's why. Sorry, I got
dude, this pretty ass Filipino chick.
Oh, she was so
And then
fine.
her
Dimey
her
dime.
friend was cute as shit too, and
And
so
exotic.
so I noticed that like based off their body language they were not into it. So I was like, fuck it, dude, might as well just like conversate with them. And then some guy's trying to talk to her. I actually know the guy. He's a cool dude, but he was trying to talk to her, and then I kind of like butted into like.
Yeah, but he had no chance because they were like, his conversation was so boring and everything. I was like, all right, bro, like you gotta make this fun. You're at a bar, like you gotta make people laugh. You gotta laugh. Like it's gotta be more energetic. Boy was just sleeping, dirt naps.
Yeah. So and then when he walked away, they're like, and so I just like started talking to them, and I don't know how it got brought up, but. Or no, right before that, it was the dudes. They were like, I had taken the rose, and I was like pretending I was like gave it to the
So
girl.
the bar we're at, there's a lady that walks around and she sells roses. That's her hustle. And the way she gets it is she'll get a guy to buy a rose to give to a girl. So the guys that these girls were with, one of them bought her a rose. That's what it was. And then you were being a dickhead, but it was funny.
Well, okay, it was more playful. It wasn't like I saw him do it and then I took it. I was on the table, so it's obviously that she wasn't about it.
Yeah.
And so I took it and I was pretending like I was Harry Potter. I was like, Harry Potter, and like I handed it to her. I was like, here, this is for you. And he like hopped in. He's like, oh, I bought her that. And I looked at him. I was like, what was on the table? Finders keepers. And he's like, no. And then I was like,
Oh, he was
and
on.
we're dead looking at each other. And I was like, and it's loud and everything. And I'm like, do you want to have a dance off? And he was like, what? Do I want to dance? I was like, a dance off. He was like, what? I was like, do you want to dance with me? And he was like, what? And by the third time, I'm like, dude, never mind. I'm not like, because I was trying to be playful.
Yeah,
and
you were
make
trying
a
to be
joke.
fun, and it was funny and everything, but he was like on some half retarded
Yeah,
shit.
he was like super. You could tell he was kind of like irritable because we were talking to his girls apparently, or him and his buddy got pushed to the side
Yeah,
because they were talking.
but the backstory to his girls, like,
He was like after her for like 7 years.
yeah,
like,
the girl was like, he's like, he's been pursuing me for like 7 years. He's never gonna have a chance. I friend zoned him a long time ago, to the point where like he had left him and his friend had left their jacket and sweater with her, like trying to like assert some sort of like territory.
Yeah, like when a girl leaves like her lip gloss in your car or something, or
Yeah.
like a hair tie somewhere around.
Oh, for sure. And they were having so much fun with us that literally they grabbed those guys' jackets and sweaters, walked up to them, and gave them to each of them. And were like, "We're not holding your stuff."
Yeah,
Like,
and then
even though them holding the stuff was it just laying on the table, they weren't even holding it. But that goes to show
it was
like
yeah, it was
how
like
much
a little
distance
sign,
they
like
want it. Yeah.
and the whole time we're like talking to them, like this guy's this guy's just looking at me like just mad, just pissy and
Oh,
everything.
for sure.
And I think what won it over was, I mean, just me and Jose talking to them, like, no problem. But when I brought up, we were talking about, because her friend was exotic. She was like Cuban, Dominican,
Yeah, she was a
some,
mix of a
like,
whole bunch of things.
because
She
we're
was
like, oh, you
bad.
got pretty eyes. Or Jose was like, you got pretty eyes. And I was like, dude, I want to say that, but I thought it would be weird.
Those
And so
green
we're like,
eyes get me every time.
and we're, the green eyes are your demise. And so we're talking about that, and so like like I was like, oh, what are you? She like names it off. I was like, oh damn, and I was like, yeah, well I'm Filipino, Spanish, and German Irish, and like her friend turned and like looked at me, and she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I know I don't look like it. She's like, yeah, you look like a white boy, and I was like, yeah, my dad's side like they're straight Filipino, and she's like, really? She's like, I'm Filipino and Irish or something like that, and I was like, yeah, like I said, I'm Spanish, German, Irish, and Filipino. And she looked kind of doubtful, and I was like, I can cook you pancit, adobo,
Ooh,
I can make,
that's that chef
like,
talk right there.
and anyhow, all that stuff, and lumpia, I'm just to throw stuff out there.
Yeah, Lupia's bomb though.
And I told her, I was like, my grandma, she published a book in like I think it was like 60s or 70s for American Filipino cooking, and she sold a bunch of them, and they had a restaurant called the Nipa Hut out in Old Town Pasadena. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Had out there for years, and she was like, "Oh, really?" And I told her, I was like, "Yeah, look it up and everything." And then we got their IGs, and dude, super super pretty
Super
little.
pretty, super dope too.
Yeah,
Like
and they were like,
genuinely dope. Like
and I
they
was like, "You don't look like you're having fun." She's like, "I don't go to bars. I don't like it."
and she didn't like drinking. Like she wouldn't even drink. Like
Yeah,
she was
she's
smoking.
like, "I'm a smoker." I'm like, "Where's the?"
She's smoking scante fool.
And she's like, I smoke weed. You know, she's like, if I had a blunt, I'd be fine. And I was like, all right, cool. So they're like, yeah, obviously stoners and they're chill,
Oh, for sure. But dope stoners.
but
Usually all
yeah,
stoners are usually pretty dope though.
for the most part, I haven't found.
Especially if they have their weed.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met like a shitty stoner unless they're grumpy because they haven't had food or don't have the weed. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
They're
And
like chilling.
that was a fun little time right there. But what was funny was how she had to like walk away for a second to like
Yeah,
do something. I think she had to use a restroom or something. He like ran after her, pursued her, like, and then one of their friends sat at the table with us, and we started talking shit because we just don't give a fuck what anyone's gonna say or do to us. And then the other girl, the exotic one, was like looking at us like she's like, stop, 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 like shut up, like this guy's gonna say too much to the other dude. Whatever case may be, they ended up having to take off. It was like already pretty
yeah,
late
we
in
are
the night.
calling.
I think it was like must have been like at least like 1:30 in the morning or something.
But the
So
little
the bar
Filipino
was
girl was all saying how he gets
it's like all
aggressive
aggressive.
and like
We're like,
I'm
what
like
the fuck?
I'm a big boy, dude. Like, and on top of that, I've done security for places, and he's like this little dude, and I'm not saying little dudes can fight because this guy he's a little rambunctious at times, and I'm like, dude, that's fine. Like, if he wants to argue over me talking over it, it's like we weren't even trying to like, hey, come back to our place, or
Yeah, we weren't even
like
like
we're just
honestly we weren't even like trying. We
we
weren't even
went
trying to
yeah
spit
we
game. We
met
were
up
literally
with
just
two
sitting
other
there,
friends, and we
just being us, just bullshitting like we always do, having fun, laughing our asses off, and then they just got engaged into talking to us.
yeah,
And
because
we were just like,
obviously
I
we're
guess
more interesting than you two guys. Or at least one guy. The other guy kind of just like walked. I mean, he
yeah.
wasn't too happy, but he just like walked off. But the other guy was just like the whole time I was making them laugh, he would like turn around and just like look.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm like, dude, you're a hater.
And then what made some of that night even funner was the fact that we went to the other side of the bar, which is super cool, and we saw two of our friends, or one of them mainly, but we were meeting her other
Her
friend.
friend, yeah.
They're on this side of the bar, and they're super pretty girls, so they're getting hit on by like every single guy. They're like they have every guy swarmed around them. It was honestly, I expected it when we ran into them again that they were gonna be getting hit on by like every single guy. So we get over there, the bar's closing, we're all trying to finish up our last beers, and all these guys are inviting them over to their place with her. And it was funny. It was like
Yeah, that's how they ended
how
up.
we
Usually
walk over
goes.
there, and it was just like, hey, do you guys need a ride home? And it was funny because like they're just our friends, so it's like nothing
But
like
these
weird.
guys like, who are these?
Yeah,
Who are
everybody
these?
was like, who are
Who are
these
these
random guys
studs?
that just walked up and said, you want us to give you a ride home?
As if
And
it's routine, we just walk up to,
yeah,
hey, you want a ride?
And they were like, yeah, it's like sure, and they're dope ass homegirls, so we just chopped it up and laughed the whole car ride home. Super cool as fuck, but it was pretty funny. Like all those other guys were probably like, what the fuck? Like who
Yeah,
are they?
these
Like
guys are studs, dude. They just be walking and talking to all these girls.
we like, but I feel like that's how it always is when we go out. But we don't like.
We just go out with the intention of just like talking and like
yeah, we just go and have a good time.
Like I'm over here just like fuck girls.
I mean,
I just want to dance.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had some ratchet nights, but I mean, at
That
the
was
same
the old
time.
Taylor. This is the new Taylor. I miss the old Taylor.
But we just like I don't know. We just go out and fuck around. Like we just. I think we just go more just to see like how much we can laugh and who we can make laugh.
Which yeah makes the night
Which
always
is,
fun.
which yeah.
Versus those guys that go out and they're like, we're gonna get so much pussy and we're gonna fight some guys and it's like,
Oh,
why are you
gosh.
going out with that kind of mentality? Why
You might as well go to bed.
yeah, like first off, you're gonna get
save
kicked
yourself
out
in
of
trouble.
most bars because you're a
It's true.
douchebag. You go out with that mentality. We're fucking bitches and we're like fighting people. Like you're a dick.
Oh,
And you
for
probably
sure.
wear like an affliction shirt or fucking some shit like that.
Damn, it'd be like that.
Um,
Have you seen Yellowstone?
I haven't seen Yellowstone. I hear it's really fucking good. I see memes on it where it's like,
I want to watch it because it seems like it's a fucking everyone's favorite TV show these
dude,
days.
it's about badass cowboys. Apparently, I haven't seen too much. I've only seen the memes
Was
on
it
it.
filmed in Lancaster, California? Or?
Shit, honestly, it might have been. It might be in the acres. Who knows?
Ooh.
Um, but as far as like shows and stuff,
Which
recently,
one's your favorite one? Like, which one's like, or would you say it's like your current favorite?
current
Because
favorite
I feel
right
like
now.
there's just at this point, like
There's so many
everyone's
shows. Yeah,
seen so many shows.
but
It's like
current
no one really
favorite
has a
that I'm
favorite.
like binging or that I did binge. Me and my older brother, we watched all three seasons early, like back to back. In what was it? Ghost, the British version. The American version sucked, but Ghost super fucking funny. But Ozark, they just released another season.
I think I was watching Ozark for a while, but I think
It's
I kind of
slow,
fell out of it.
but now that they have like the first or these three seasons out, like if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's fucking dope. It some of these shows do start off slow, like Breaking Bad. Started off slow, and I didn't really like it. And once it started going, dude, it becomes really good. Um, there's this other one about like a satanic cult, and he's a tape. He like fixes tapes and stuff for them. It's like
Oh, is that the new one on Netflix?
something.
I almost started watching that the other night, and I was kind of
81.
confused
There's
about
like a,
it.
it's like a
You
the
saw
picture's
it?
like a stone. I watched I think like 3 episodes.
Was it good?
It's good from now from what I've seen, but it's like I'm kind of confused because obviously I haven't finished it, so I'm like I'm still in like the stage of what the what's going on. I need to finish it, but it's that's another good one. It's funny because like when I watch shows like that, I'm like, what would I do in that situation?
Ooh.
And I wouldn't do half the stuff. When this guy's like, hey, we have a compound in the woods where there's no internet and your phone service will likely not work, and it's in the middle of the forest, I'd be like, I'm good, dude. I'm not gonna go out there. As soon as
I'm like, bro, you give me a book, as you can see in the background. I'll chill here all day. I'll just read this shit. I'll read it 3 times over if I have to.
yeah, it's a big compound, and then he like finds like I don't want to spoil or anything, but
Spoiler alert! 3, 2, 1, say it.
there's like he finds like this like I don't know how like we're confused on how he figured out, but there's like he pushes on like this in the cabinet. He like finds out that there's something behind it, breaks it open, and the compound was built on top of this other kind of compound. It's like no lights. He like turns it on. It's like a dark hallway with this
What
other
the fuck?
stuff. It's and then it leads over to this like church that was all like torn up, and I'm like, dude, this is satanic shit for sure. I was like, this is exactly fucking what. I was like, you don't have a church in a compound like this, and it's a small one. So I'm like,
Yeah, true.
I got some like weird vibes from it, but
You know, what I was just thinking about that came to my head.
uh,
So when we went out Saturday night, we got like 4, 5, 6 different numbers that night from different girls. Probably shouldn't be saying like how our nights typically go, but anyways, you know, what I was thinking about like, and it's weird because it's more like for me, it's like a go with the flow, like depending how I feel and like how fun they were to talk to. But how soon do you normally message a girl?
Well,
Okay, so let's go back to 106 Underground. You messaged her that same night because she was fun. She was
it was
fun,
an IG
fun.
message
Yeah, but
versus the text message. I
right.
was debating which one I should do.
The IG message was more like
She's a
subtle.
little bit older than me. I don't know how old, but I know she's a little bit old. I'm 30 then. She's at least maybe 31, 32.
She's in her 30s for sure.
But since some of those,
But you
some of those
messaged her
girls
like
are,
that
they're
same night, and she was like, and you texted her your favorite sushi shit, and she was about it. I can't say what she wrote back. We'll keep that off air.
but she messaged, and I immediately I texted him. I was like, I got I got a text back, bitch.
You did.
And but
Well,
I don't play those games for the most part where it's like, oh, you must wait 2 days before you.
Who made up the 2 day rule? Like, who was like, wait 2 days?
And it's like I feel
it's
like within
bro,
those
in
2 days,
she's probably already
you
got hit
can
on
meet
like
another
5
person
times.
and be like, oh yeah, I met this cute guy, but now he was a douche.
Well, how about the fact that like in the same night we had like 5, 6 different numbers? It's like it doesn't make it. Like,
and it's not like we're going out for that. It's just it happens. Like, oh, you're really cool. Can I like here's my
or
IG.
we'll be like, hey, there's this thing I was like that I want to send you. Like for an example, like it'd be like 106 Underground. Like, oh, let me send you the link of where it's at or something, and you just send it. Sometimes it kind of rolls out that way, or they're like, "Oh, there's this spot, I just can't remember it." They're like, oh, "Let me text you later what it is," and then later they just.
And a lot of the time, there's some girls where it's like, they're like, "Here, just like, what's your IG?" And like you just give them an IG, and like, and then they they do the little follow thing, and then like if that doesn't work here, just here's my number.
Yeah, I like numbers more over like IG messages, like the DMs.
Yeah, well, because it's more personal.
More
However,
like
the girl.
What the old school feel about it.
If a girl's giving you, or if she's giving you a number, it's probably gonna be real. But if you're asking a girl for a number or her IG, and she gives it to you, I mean, she could give you a fake number.
I feel like
I
feel like a lot of times they'll probably even give you the real one just in case, like they need to make contact with you or something.
Because I know.
But if they're not interested, they're not gonna write back.
Yeah.
Like vice versa, like, you've done that to people too. You're like, I don't like messaging, but.
Yeah, I know girls that are like, I have a specific number saved for them to give that, and I think that's why now there's some guys where like, I'll call you right now, and the girl's like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
It's like, don't call now.
But then
I
like
have no minutes.
A move to do too, like, there's been quite some few nights where like you can get kind of sideways, and like the next morning you look at your phone, there's like 5 to like 7 different phone numbers on it.
You don't know who's who.
You're like, oh shit, who is who?
And then you see symbols next to them. You're like, like, what does that mean? Like,
so something.
Scooby Doo, where are you?
Something I learned to do is get right when you gain the number, obviously get their name, and text them like, hey, like let's say your name's like Samantha, be like, hey Samantha, it says that, and send it. That way, the next morning, you see the text message and you know who's who. Or even if you got to do it like
that's actually a good way of doing it.
Yeah, because that's how the only way I'll remember for the next morning, and I know at night like what I'm doing when I'm drunk. I'm like, okay, or I'll do something like let's say we're meeting like a group of girls are talking about food, or me and one girl in particular are talking about like a food spot. Like let's say we're talking about like the best taco spot in LA or something. I'd be like, hey, taco partner in crime, it's Jose or something.
Taco partner in crime.
Yeah, and that way the next day I know like who, or hey Samantha, like my new taco partner in crime or something cheesy, but something like that. So that way the next morning I'm not like, who's Samantha too. Yeah. Like I'll remember that convo and I'm like, oh, that's who I was talking to. Like that's the girl I want to like.
There's nothing worse than when you wake up and you see numbers and then it's just a text message that says hey.
Yeah.
And then you're like, who is this? Why did I have it?
Is this a setup? Should I even write back?
It's just as bad as when you wake up and you look at your messages and you're like, I sent this to who? And who did I hit up? And why did I send this meme out?
It's true.
Yeah, I've definitely had to unsend messages because I'm like, oh my gosh,
I resend the same one before I double down.
you just text over like, yeah, I meant that. I meant what I said.
There was one time, dude, where I got bored. This shit was funny. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I started texting all these random numbers. I'm pregnant and you're the dad, right? it was the funniest thing, right? And literally, one person, a couple people were like, What the heck?" Like, doing the whole thing, and I was just laughing my ass off. Like, this is so funny to me. I must have been like, I don't know, like 21, 22. So it's like 8, 10 years ago now. And this person, one time, I'll never forget it. I was walking into the hometown local watering hole, and I get a text from a random number, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And I opened the message, and I didn't know the number. Like, it wasn't saved or anything. And they're like, oh, I hope everything went well with the kid. They messaged me exactly 9 months later from when I had sent that text. Like, they had set up an alarm and sent themselves a reminder to write back to that message to that number. And the only reason I knew is because I saw the first text message I
And it was
sent,
nine.
and I remember for like a couple of days, one day or for 1 week, like I had did that prank, and I saw that number, and I was like, oh my gosh,
That's
this
funny.
person, this person trolled me for 9 months. Like, they
Or
won
they
the
were
award.
genuinely concerned for 9 months. Like,
Yeah, but they genuinely waited for 9 months. They never messaged me or anything until 9 months
did you
later.
ever Google search the number and see who it might have been?
No,
That would be
it was too funny for
funny.
me. Like as like a
I wish you would have saved that.
as
Or
a big
screenshot it back,
comedian
dude. That'd
fan,
be like,
I was like, I gotta respect this comedy, and I just let it be.
dude, that's funny. Just
You
hope
were I think
everything's
walking
fine.
like probably like 20 feet behind me. I just never said nothing because it was like one of those like whatever things, you know. We're like, oh, whatever. Like we're like probably talking about something else, and we're just like, oh, whatever. Put my phone in my pocket and continued on. But I never forgot that. I was like, damn, that person got me so fucking good. 9 months later, exactly to the day. And the only reason I knew it was 9 months later because I was like, why would someone message me so late? And I was like, how long ago was this? And I remember seeing like seeing the dates, and I was like, what the fuck? This is weird. And I remember like looking at the calendar and counting it back, and I was like, these motherfuckers got me on 9 months exactly to the day.
As if any kid is born exactly
Yeah.
9 months after.
But it was great. They trolled the fuck out of me. I loved it. It was fucking great comedy. Good time. Fuck, I thought I had them. They got me way better. But
They said checkmate.
yeah, super checkmate. Are you ready for the Super Bowl?
I'm not ready for the Super Bowl. I mean, if Steelers were going, I'd be more
You'd
ready.
be all about it.
But
You're getting tatted on you.
either way, dude, it's going to LA.
I ain't gonna lie.
It's
I'm
gonna
trying to.
go.
I'm definitely gonna go for the Rams. Like LA being the new home team.
If the
low
Rams,
key
if the
growing
Rams
on it.
won the Super Bowl, that would be really
Bro,
fucking
LA
cool.
would not be ready for that.
Oh,
There'd
dude,
be a riot.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have like riot police ready and everything.
LA's gonna be flipping buses. You might see me.
They'll be fucking. I need new Nikes. Let's riot this bitch.
Nah, just kidding. I'm just doing that stuff. But that'd be so sick though for LA to get a championship W first year in the Super Bowl at their home stadium.
Right?
Like that. Come on, boy.
I'm definitely gonna sit outside and listen to it and just like wait for the aftermath and just watch it unfold.
We're gonna see you in the news flipping buses. You're the big guy that helps everyone do all the hard work.
Scaling buildings and stuff in a Spider-Man
I
outfit.
thought there was Chinese food underneath this bus. Who lied to me?
Riots breaking out. I'm just protecting the Panda Expresses. Stop! Stop it, guys! Leave it alone! Not the noodles.
Not the noodles. Not like wait, jelly butter. What's the thing from Shrek where he's like,
Not the gumdrop buttons.
yeah, that's what it is for you.
Gingerbread Man.
Protecting all the orange chicken. You're in the Spider-Man outfit, like the guy that got in trouble in LA
Get out of
today
here.
for fucking going down a building dressed as Spider-Man.
He was climbing down a building or climbing up?
Climbing down. So I think he.
I feel like that's more dangerous than climbing up a building.
I didn't like read all the full details of how he did it or watch any videos, but he was climbing down. So I'm assuming he probably.
It depends on what Spider-Man outfit he had on.
Ooh, the black one or the red one?
The black? Are you talking about like the new black one where it was inside out, or are you talking about?
That's the Venom one, isn't it?
The symbiote one.
Yeah.
That one. They could have. I feel like they could have done that better way. I mean, Like they've done way too many adaptations. But I choose Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Tobey Maguire is dope. Honestly, this if you haven't seen this movie, I mean, it's already too late. It's been too long, but yeah, I think Tobey Maguire dope, but Tom Holland better Spider-Man.
So I'm trying to get sponsored right now. I hope one day they reach out to us.
Sponsored by 211.
Modelo, if you hear us, we're here. We've been here since the beginning. One of my favorite
Because
beers.
it's always time.
It's always. I support all the times. Like what?
I
Damn.
think it's 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. What are you doing? It's time.
Do you go Modelo or Pacifico?
Ooh.
I'm not
For
gonna lie.
some reason,
they're
Modelo
neck
makes
and
me
neck.
kind of sleepy.
It's a good nighttime beer, like to like.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know what. Every time I drink Modelo, like I
It
get like
coddles
a.
you.
Yeah, it's like.
It's your leche before you
like,
go to sleep.
And it's like.
You just hear Yolanda's
And
angel
I'm counting
voice.
Modelo's jumping over the moon. When people listen to like rain sounds as they go to sleep,
Hey,
I'm
that
listening,
shit
I'm
works,
listening to Modelo cans being open and poured.
You hit at the end. You're.
If I had to choose between those two, I think I would do Pacifico. Pacifico's
Pacifico's a
bomb on
go-to
summer
for us for
day.
sure.
Bomb. Pacifico's
Pacifico
fire.
in the bottle.
Pacifico in a bottle for sure. Not on tap. Honestly, I don't.
Tap
Depends
can
on-
fuck it up.
Yeah, it depends on which one's on tap and stuff. Like, I mean, but then again, there's certain beers in like cans that taste like shit. Heineken, for example. I think Heineken out of a can is
Oh,
terrible.
it just sounds.
But
terrible.
Heineken in a
In a
bottle
is
is way
pretty bomb.
better.
Yeah.
Out of those two, Pacifico for sure. But my beer choices are IPAs. I
I
like
think it's kind of hard to like
Elysian.
find a
fire.
bad beer. I feel like there's a very small.
There's
No, I'm not saying there's not, but I feel like there's a small group of.
I like
actual bad beer.
211s, but because it
Yeah,
gets
but
the
you,
job done. It's not a
you
good
like getting to
tasty
the
beer.
point.
It's not like a. It's not like you're gonna pair that with a nice steak. You're pairing a 211
with the 7-Eleven hot dog floor, and you're fucking running it.
with Dirty Mike and the boys.
And a bag of chicharrones you guys are sharing.
We passing it around. I remember being at a high school party with
The bag of
With
chicharrones or what? Chicharrones dropping the hot sauce and shaking the bag. You used to get the fucking the Chinese soup,
the ramen.
the ramen,
Just-
and you used to break it. Remember and eat it like it was
Yeah,
chips?
dude. Hey, you break that
Fucking
up in a
badass.
bag. You pour the little seasoning. Not all of it. That's
Ooh,
way too much. But
yeah.
you sprinkle some of it.
You said
You
I watch
eat
my
it.
health. Salt, don't get crazy.
I remember in high school we'd go hide in the bathroom and me Chan Akins we'd pass around the
Were you guys passing cocaine around?
we were passing a tall can
You
around.
dirty Mike in the boys are passing everything around. Apparently.
Dude, we were passing a tall can around, and I remember like we'd all take sips and like I'd be like like every sip and
Oh,
like,
alcohol.
yeah, we passed it around and like just to
Dude,
get
I
that.
remember, and this is like something that like I don't think I've ever shared. It was back in the day when
One
at
time
your
at band camp.
house-
Okay, keep that at band camp.
It was when you guys used to throw the big ass parties at your house when we were young. So, Taylor back in the day, his house is known for throwing the craziest house parties our town.
Because my brother, I was a child of God. I did my Holy Communion. Yeah, little confirmation.
Whispered.
But, and no, I was not an altar boy. Nothing happened.
Oh, this boy. Oh, he had the
When
hard
I-
ice cream.
when I-
He's like Joey Diaz line. He was like, they never molested me. I was fucking ugly as a kid.
I was an ugly kid. They wanted the pretty ones.
Um,
What are you gonna say?
no, I remember being at your house party. One of your house parties when we were real young, and they gave me a Budweiser, like the OG Budweisers, like the Bud Heavies.
That's one of the first things I drank when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah, same here. But I don't know why it tastes. Well, I know why. It's an acquired taste, but it tasted like shit. And I remember all the older people giving it to me. They're older than to us.
Yeah.
They're probably like
Like realistically, we were what, like 13, 14,
yeah,
and they were
18 to 22.
Yeah,
Imagine
yeah.
they're buying alcohol already. Like
yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't hard to just go steal alcohol from.
Yeah, but we
We
never, we
know what
weren't
store
part.
we didn't steal.
We weren't part of that, but like the older kids were probably doing their
We
thing.
were kids playing
Yeah,
kid
we're
stuff.
still trying to play with PSPs back then and fucking Tamagotchis.
PSPs.
And I remember having a Budweiser and it just tasting like I was like, people like this shit. It's so fucking gross. I was like, give me some fucking cran with fucking mango or pine from what's it, Ocean Spray,
Dude.
and I'll be good. But that shit was so rough. I remember to finish one can of beer was so tough for me.
Yeah, dude, it was. Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm never gonna like this shit. It's
Yeah.
gross.
And then mind you, I became like 16 and was like the fucking beer pong champion and fucking
Yeah.
drinking the
Beer
beer
pong was,
became nothing.
yeah, but it was more about the game. It was not about the alcohol.
Tell me what I mean. You
Back in the day when
destroyed
people
most
put
people,
beer in the actual cups too.
Oh, remember going to house parties
Yeah, you gotta
in
pick
the
stuff
garage,
out.
and like the ball would be like touching
Dirty
the
as
floor, all
fuck.
dirty, and
Yeah,
all the
bottle
cups
cup.
be all nasty. And it became a thing. I remember a time period to get a lighter, and you would run it around a circle of the brim of the cup to try to disinfect
kill
anything.
whatever germs. That was.
Yeah.
That's why we had good immune system.
Yeah,
We
it's like
drink
COVID-19
from-
ain't shit to our era.
drinking hose water.
Oh, yeah.
We're over here drinking.
And I remember
dirty
the
shit.
water cup, dude, would be like
All
black
nasty.
almost, like it'd be gross, and we'd be playing with that shit.
And I remember it was innovative when I was like, oh shit, these cups have water in it?
Oh,
That makes way more sense to drink it out of your can
yeah,
and you have water like.
yeah, I remember that. We're
I
like,
was
we're
like,
the first
this is
people.
revolutionary, bro. This is.
Like you didn't need the water cup no more, so get rid of that. Fill all the cups up with water, and when you fucking they make one, you just drink
Yeah,
it.
you just fucking. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
But we came from that era where it was like you just party hard.
Those parties were
Those
insane,
were
dude.
even though as we've gotten older, we've been to like we've experienced a lot of different parties and a lot of different things and whatever.
Events.
There
clubs,
was
bars.
too many clubs, too many events, too many Vegas nights, too many of everything. The craziest parties were when we were young, and not because it was new to us. The level and standard of how things got done
Yeah.
were just above and beyond. Like I have younger siblings, and I've talked to them about it, and they've even told me like our years, like our class years, like our peers talk about the years you guys were in school, and no one's ever been able to match like how hard you guys partied.
Yeah, the younger kids they never. Well, I guess they had a house parties, but they were called kickbacks.
Yeah, it was
like
yeah, but no, the parties like for
dude,
example,
and
at
some
your
yeah,
house.
some of these, I know I'm not trying to brag, but some of these parties were like, I'm talking like double kegger, fucking. Girls were leaving. There's one party where like I remember hearing this when one of their friends were doing security at the door, which was funny because it's a house party.
Yeah.
But like literally, they're told, hey, listen, you can't. It was Halloween. You can't come in without like a costume and stuff. And the girls had a costume, the guys didn't, and the girls were like, well, we're going in, and then the guys they couldn't, and they actually went to the store and got like some shitty little costume,
Yeah.
but it worked. They were like, all right, come in, and I was
Yeah,
like,
it's perfect.
damn, for a girl to leave her dude
Yeah.
to come
For the
into
party.
a party, and
Those parties are insane.
it was just the rule was just no one's allowed
Yeah, but-
upstairs.
But the thing was, is like when people like from the stories I've heard from younger siblings, they had kickbacks. They had like 10 people, 15 people at the house. That was it. Like at your house, dude, there'd be. This is no exaggeration. There'd be like 100 to like 200 people easily.
yeah, like it was crazy.
Insane, and like
And everyone respected the house for the
Yeah.
most part. I mean,
and it was like hookups galore.
dude,
It
so
was
I remember
drinking
I'm
galore.
like, dude, they had not they, but my older brother, somehow he came in contact with a icy machine. One of his friends had an icy machine, so they had two icy machines going on. They had like a screwdriver and another one. And my brother's girlfriend at the time was like, "Do you want me to get you something? Can you watch the door?" And I was like, and me and Chandler were like, "Yeah, two screwdrivers." And I remember drinking part. I was like, "This is disgusting. You can have it back." It was bomb.
And then
like,
back
for
when
like
everybody poured the alcohol a little extra heavy.
because like you can taste like that orange juice stuff in it, but it was like heavy vodka, and I was like, "Yeah, no, you can have this."
You said, "Nah, I'm good on you."
And then because all of us would hang out in we had a side room. We called it the Mary Kay room because
Yeah.
my mom was doing that at the time, and like we would just like close the doors and we would just like listen to all the fun shit. Because technically we weren't allowed to go to it, but
But it was in
we
your
kind of
house.
went to it.
So like
So
they couldn't control that.
and I just remember like looking around like, God damn, do you remember I know some pretty ass girls? And he was known as Mexican. Mexican Mike.
Dirty Mike in the
And
boys.
that's right. Hey yo, Dirty Mike. Dude, if there was like a fight to break out, like he had some big ass friends that would just shut that shit down.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw one of his buddies, Jesse. He was a badass, bro. Some guy was talking to him like face to face, and no joke, his leg came out of nowhere, knocks the guy out. He was a kickboxer, so like he did like a fucking.
Over.
And I was like, dang, all right, that's fucking crazy. I was like, yeah, I would hate to be the kids that go against them. And I remember being little thinking these guys are like older and they're big, but I mean, realistically, they're like 19, 20 and shit, thinking they're like full grown adults.
I mean, some of them, dude. We had like one dude who played for the Dodgers right
Well,
after high school.
He was on the Dodgers roster, but he was a triple A player.
Yeah, like don't
So
get
he's
wrong.
like the next, like
Yeah,
if
don't get
someone got
wrong.
hurt,
There's
they would, like,
there was levels to it,
but
but point being, like I remember seeing him in school. I thought he was part of faculty. He had a full beard, mustache. He was as big as all the adults in the school, like bigger than a lot of the other ones. He was just a big ass dude, and I would just remember thinking like, some of these guys are grown men already.
yeah, some
Like
people
at
like
18, 17, like some of these guys
some
mature
people are
so
like
quick.
peaking. They're over there like balding. I think one of Mike's friends actually did bald at like 18, 19, and he just shaved his head from them.
Yeah, that means he was probably like in middle school and was already a grown man.
He's over there buying beer for everybody. That's how all the kids got alcohol and
Yeah.
shit.
Everybody had that
Fucking-
one friend that had a full beard and mustache. I
there
had a
was-
baby face for the longest
Yeah,
time.
dude. Honestly, I couldn't grow any of this up until
Neither could
I remember being 20, about like 20, 21 years old when I started like getting like facial hair. Like I could grow like the little beaner stash. You know, I'm
Like
Hispanic. I can say beers, like the little dirty stash, and then I was just like, I thought that old thing where it's like, oh, you shave a lot and then it'll grow in.
Nah, it's just genetics. It's just the way it rolls, like the way the ball rolls for you.
And finally, it grew in, and I was like,
Again, my family, like I've been told, a lot of the guys. Well, it's weird. Like I'll see pictures of like my family members, like my uncles and stuff. When they were young, they had like full fucking beards already.
see, I wish it like it would grow in like boom, like a full on
yeah.
like lumberjack man.
What's weird for me is like just as the years go, it just gets fuller and fuller. So I feel like for me, like it just the hair growing process. So like I have the full mustache and goatee and everything's like
Do
nice
a
and
little
full.
Fu Manchu.
But like the whole sides for me, like they still grow in, but it's not as full as I would like it to be.
Have you ever seen them do like hair transplant shit? Like those like there's like little holes that they basically.
Yeah,
put-
that shit's stupid
It's
as fuck because
fucking-
it's not how fucking hair grows. It doesn't make sense. Like you can't. It's not. It's not dirt. You can't irrigate it and make it grow. Like it comes from your DNA from the inside out. Like
You just shave your balls and you tape it. Here you go. Nice patchwork.
like don't buy the marketing.
You would
stuff
definitely
to
get
you.
stood up in if you fucking had that kind of beer.
Ooh. But you know what does sound good right now?
Beer.
Some
Opposite.
fucking ceviche. Because
Yeah.
I'm feeling that shit right now. Like
We
some
love ceviche from
from 106 Underground.